Yes, so hi everyone, I'm Katerina, as Meg just introduced me, from the Office of the Great Barrier Reef and World Heritage. So I make up one half of our Human Dimensions team alongside Meg. So the Office of the Great Barrier Reef and World Heritage invests in many agricultural practice change projects within reef catchments. And these projects focus on reducing sediment, nutrients and pesticides being lost to local waterways to ultimately improve water quality outcomes for the reef. But in recognising that presenting people with science and facts alone, as we heard this morning, does not lead to behaviour change, behavioural and social science principles have been embedded in our projects to increase their impact. Yes. So one aspect of this is the monitoring of opinions of farmers from the sugarcane, grazing, banana and horticulture industries engaged in practice change projects to improve water quality. So since 2019, a short survey of 6 questions was designed to measure the biggest individual predictors of enduring practice change. So this included motivations and barriers to making a practice change, as well as perceived group norms, attitudes, and self-efficacy. We recently reviewed and updated this survey based on the results and feedback that we'd been receiving over the years. And then we also undertook some stakeholder and expert consultation on that survey. So we now have a new and hopefully improved survey through which we can better understand why change is or isn't happening, and to be able to provide insight into how we can accelerate practice change. So through these mechanisms, we now have some understanding of the influences behind practice change of agricultural producers who have been involved in reef water quality projects. And we continue to build on this understanding. However, we don't really have a good understanding of those who haven't been involved in projects. So to help fill this gap, we commissioned a project to survey farmers about their perceptions of land management practices to improve water quality. So this project was conducted by Market and Communications Research, and the survey aligned closely to the monitoring that we do as part of projects, but also included additional questions that are not asked within a project setting. So some of which is what I will explore with you today regarding shared responsibility, moral obligation, local descriptive social norm, and personal agency. So the initial stage of this project involved interviews and focus groups with industry representatives to make sure that the survey was appropriate for each industry. The main industries that we were looking at were sugarcane, grazing, bananas, and horticulture. So the approach to recruiting respondents was multimodal in that hard copy letters and surveys were mailed out to producers within reef catchments, and then followed up via phone or email. The online version of the survey was also promoted through relevant events and networks. And so the hope of this project was that we would be able to capture the perceptions of farmers who hadn't been involved in reef water quality projects before. So in the end, there was a total of 127 respondents across agricultural industries operating within reef catchments. So 31% had participated in a reef water quality project, while 64% indicated that they had not. So we were able to achieve a decent number of respondents who had not previously, at least reported that they had not previously participated in a reef water quality project. So of those who had not participated in a project, most, so 87%, said that they used practices to reduce pollutant loss from their farms, such as the loss of nutrients, chemicals, or sediment. Only 7% indicated that they did not use any practices to reduce pollutant loss from their farm. And a reminder here that this was a self-report survey, and there can be quite a large variation in terms of what types of practices people are doing, but also in the perceptions of what is actually contributing to improving water quality. But already we can see that most producers at least perceive that they are trying to do something to minimise pollutant loss from their farms. So from our preliminary results, this table presents the percent of producers who agreed with each of the statements regarding shared responsibility, moral obligation, local descriptive social norm, and personal agency. So you guys can see that most respondents agreed with that first statement on shared responsibility, that it is the responsibility of everyone in my local area to try to reduce their impacts on the Great Barrier Reef. So similarly, most people also agreed with the moral obligation statement. I feel morally obligated to reduce any impacts I might personally have on the Great Barrier Reef. So those who have not been involved in a reef water quality project agreed slightly less to both those statements than those who have been involved. But where we see a larger difference is in those last two statements. So most producers who have participated in a project agreed with the local descriptive social norm statement that most people in my local area try to reduce any impacts they might have on the Great Barrier Reef, whereas only just over half of those who had not participated in a project agreed. And now the last statement in the table is about personal agency, and this was negatively worded in the survey. So in red, I cannot make a personal difference in improving the health of the Great Barrier Reef. I flipped it here for ease of interpretation. So over half of producers who have participated in a project thought that they could make a difference, whereas less than half of those who had not participated in a project thought that they could make a difference. So what we can see from these results is that even though producers may not have been involved in a reef water quality project, most people believe that they are doing something on farm to improve water quality. However, when we look at some of the indicators that can foster long-term engagement with the practice, there are some differences when looking at project involvement. So in response to this survey, we see that norms, so what we think other people are doing around us, and personal agency, whether or not we think we can make a difference, are all lower for those who have not been a part of a reef water quality project. So what? Well, one of the things we can take away from these findings is that there is an opportunity here to further promote the breadth of work that is taking place to reduce the impacts on the Great Barrier Reef, because there is a lot of fabulous work that is happening. But effectively promoting this work further to those who need to hear it is probably easier said than done. So the usual networks and channels accessed by government or research institutions are probably not going to reach producers who are not or have not been involved in projects. So we may need to think outside of the box in terms of new approaches to promoting this work. So similar messaging from many organisations who work or communicate with agricultural producers in their communities may help to get the message out there. And we don't have to guess about where they may be going to get their information from, as there is already some research out there that has identified preferred channels for receiving information, accessing information. So it's therefore on us to use this information and make sure that our communications are as effective as they can be. And key to this will also be communicating that producers play a crucial role in helping to protect the reef. And we kind of know already that presenting the science and facts of their impact alone may not necessarily achieve the practice change that is needed. So messaging about the role that producers play in improving water quality will likely need to be based on the values of producers, or as Kerry said earlier, on their cow truth. So improving agricultural producers' perceptions of norms and personal agency may further support their ongoing engagement with practices that can improve reef water quality. We also need to keep in mind that this is unlikely to be a fast change, so it'll take a while to see the fruits of our labour. And our plan moving forward is to repeat this survey to be able to track trends over time. And while we got a decent number of respondents, we would like to see more. We were unfortunately pressed for time during this project. So next time we'll factor in a much longer recruitment period, always double the time that you think you need for recruitment. And now I would just like to end with a quick little video demonstrating that there is already a lot of effort going into creating engaging and effective communications. And I'm hoping, yes.
As a farmer in the Great Barrier Reef catchment, environmental stewardship is at the forefront of everything I do. Protecting the land, air and waterways that grow our crops is our #1 priority. Getting involved with programs like the BMP and water quality projects give farmers like myself an opportunity to see how our practices impact our businesses and the greater environment.